Hello and welcome back to this week's Football Talk podcast. It's myself, Dave, all the way from Singapore in Asia. Obviously, most people know that. Josh, I assume you're still in the UK. Sunny UK? Cold UK?
Yeah. Was sunny, now wet, and it's thankfully wet now because the Thursday was intensely warm, then it started raining, and then it was a little bit okay on Friday, but now it's just kind of a wet, warm day. But yeah, it was pretty uncomfortable for a while. I was, you know what? For the first time ever, I wore shorts to work.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
So you're a sportsman,
Thursday, I
I
wore shorts and just some loafers, as the cool kids do. And then Friday,
just shorts and loafers.
No, yeah. Got loads of funny looks. It's like people do not like my shorts. And then Friday, I went. I mean, I felt so liberated. Shorts and flip-flops. Oh, I feel like I was winning at life.
To work, that's incredible.
Cool. My legs are cool. My chest is out. Yeah, just so cool. Just this groin area is so warm with these shorts on.
Yeah. Excuse me, boss. Can we do something about this groin area, please? I'm too hot.
Yeah. I need to aerate my groin. It's really clammy down there. Yeah.
Right then. So now we've understood Josh's clammy groin. Let's go straight into the news. Josh, start us off. You've got a bit big news for the podcast in general.
Yeah, news for podcasts. Let's get some. New season is building. I think next weekend we'll have the. I don't know. Is it called Community Shield now? I forget because it's so tedious. But we're going to start up a Super Six. The Sky Sports do a Super Six thing where you have to predict six scores, and then throughout the season, we can have points and things. So I've set up a Football Talk League that we'll tweet the pin to. But yeah, so if you feel like getting involved, that Dave and I will be participating, and we can see how we fare throughout the season. So that'll be something we can talk through each week, maybe tweet about during the week, and then cover. We'll mention those games as we kind of review matches as we go forward. But it's something to get us all involved in a bit of competitive rivalry. So that should be quite interesting.
Sounds very good. Yeah, I think it's very good to point out to say that most of that Super Six stuff will be going through the Twitter account. So do follow us on Twitter at Football Talk, but there's no A in football. All the links will be in the description on the bottom of the YouTube video and the bottom of the Spotify and SoundCloud audio podcast as well. So a good bit of news to start us off there for the podcast. We look forward to challenging all of you guys, and you can show us up and show us why you should probably be doing a podcast rather than us.
We haven't thought this through, Dave.
No, right, so actual football news. I'm going to start us off, Josh, because it was absolutely mental the fact that Atletico Madrid beat Real Madrid 7-3 with a red card in a friendly.
Yeah. Amazing, isn't it?
It's just absolutely ridiculous. Have you seen any photos or match report or anything about it?
I've seen a little bit. I saw the, Diego Costa, shout out Diego Costa, 4 goals and red card, textbook Costa, love it. I've seen a little bit. I woke up to I think it was a tweet maybe, around Gareth Bale sat on the sidelines laughing at Zidane. It was like, I think he just laughed. Didn't really see the link between him laughing at Zidane, but he has every right to laugh at Zidane because he's been treated poorly. But that's not the main issue. It was both managers have downplayed it, and they go, "Yeah, I don't think the gap's going to be that big," says Simeone, and Zidane's like, "Yeah, I think next season's going to be a really good season. Got a good feeling about it." It's like, well. Yeah. Just ignore yesterday then.
Yeah, I mean, there's one photo that I saw on, I think it was the Guardian or the Telegraph website, where it's like a brawl of all the players, and then Felix is sort of just standing right on the periphery, just sort of looking at it thinking, oh my god, what is this?
Well, he doesn't want to get hurt by the bigger boys, does he?
Yeah, exactly. But absolutely mental. I mean, pre-season's had some quite incredible results this year. It's been quite good to see. I mean, including Man United beating Spurs 2-1. So, just throw that in there.
Spurs beating Juventus? I heard Spurs beating, but I think you meant Spurs beating Juventus was probably the one you mentioned. Because Harry Kane scored from a halfway line. That's probably what you mentioned.
I mean, that was good.
And imagine De Ligt was having nightmares. He comes on, Mora scores, and then he loses 3-2 in the last minute. It's like, bloody hell. Yeah. The Dutch Phil Jones.
Oh god, yeah, definitely. All right, so anything in the news? What's caught your eye this week?
Darren Bent has retired from football.
I saw that. Yeah, I did see that.
Yeah,
highlights.
He's
of
finally
his
caught up. Hitting the beach ball, obviously.
Obviously. Yeah.
being criticised by Harry Redknapp, saying that his wife Sandra could have scored that goal.
I forgot about that. Bloody hell, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Darren Bent, he's finally caught up with his legs, which gave up 5 years ago. Whee! I mean, Darren Bent, he was fantastic at scoring, but pretty average at the rest of the football, wasn't he?
Yeah, I mean,
He wasn't a good player overall, but he scored a lot of goals.
Yeah, well, isn't that what else does he need to do as a striker? I mean,
you're effectively playing with 10 men if he doesn't score, though. He really brought very little to the party other than in that penalty box, which obviously is a massive talent on its own. But I think that's why he didn't. He kind of, because he's not overly old, is he? I think he was just kind of, and he hasn't had a Premier League career for goodness knows how many years. So yeah, I think that he got found out somewhat there as the Premier League football developed beyond him. But
yes.
No. I imagine Sunderland fans will look back at him fondly. Spurs fans, maybe not. Charlton fans, Villa fans, yeah, he had a decent career overall.
He will forever be the answer, or some sort of answer to a question on Question of Sport, or any sporting game show of who scored a goal by hitting a beach ball or something weird like that. He'll go down in history with that. So yeah, okay. So from one retiring Englishman to a up-and-coming Englishman, Pep Guardiola has said that Phil Foden is the most talented player he has ever seen. Thoughts?
Yeah, I think that is very much too. I think that's bullshit.
Yeah, okay,
really,
fair enough.
He's managed Lionel Messi.
Yes, that's what I was thinking as well. That's quite impressive.
I think he doesn't have to be. It's not his job to be factually accurate. His job is to kind of manage the media, build up his players. So I think he shows a lot of faith when speaking to the media about Phil Foden. He just needs to show a bit more faith in actually giving him some game time. Yeah, playing him.
It's very odd because he's actually said this when Phil Foden was sitting next to him, which is always interesting. But he did say...
Well, that probably affects his positivity, doesn't it?
Yeah. I mean, Guardiola did say the only problem he's got a manager that doesn't put him in the starting 11. Hopefully, in the future, that will improve. So he's sort of hinting that he's going to get a bit more game time this year, which would be good to see. I'd like to see him get a bit more game time in the Premier League. And
agreed. Yeah,
see a bit more. So it's very, very interesting. It's just a very interesting thing to say when you have managed the likes of David Silva, Robben, Lionel Messi, Andres Iniesta.
Well, it devalues it, doesn't it, for me? Because in my head, I'm like, I don't believe you. A lot of people find it hard to take compliments at the best times, but when it's such kind of hyperbole, it's kind of like, well, yeah, thanks, boss, but I know that's not true.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Maybe if he said he's one of the best at that age, you can kind of understand it, but still, yeah.
Yes, it's very interesting. Okay, back to you. News. What's caught your eye?
At first I was like, oh, another one's gone and done it, but then I looked closer and I was like, bloody FA. So Yerry Mina has been charged by the FA for another betting breach.
Wow, what's he done?
See this?
I didn't see this. No, what's he done?
So, I think it was in Colombia, he appeared in a gambling advert, and he's been charged by the FA for breach of conduct. But I mean, every single week, about half Premier League players walk out in effectively a betting advert by having it on their shirts. It seems like the FA are just a bit narked. They didn't get any money for it.
Yeah, that is very, very strange to have that as a rule. You can't be involved in an advert, but you can wear it across your front of your shirt every Saturday. Yeah,
hypocrisy at its finest.
That is hypocrisy.
But then it just got me thinking about kind of Yerry Mina. I was like, it didn't really have the greatest first season in the Premier League last year. He joined injured, I think. Didn't start for like the first 10 games. He finished injured, barely played in 2019. So I think he needs to hopefully he's found his fitness and he can he can really hit the ground running, because he had a bit of a tough time at Barcelona, didn't he, where he for that favour he had a decent World Cup, which is what really Everton bought him off back of, which is a ludicrous thing to do. But I don't mind him. I think he's overly aggressive sometimes. We've chatted about him when we cover the reviews of Everton matches. He seems to try and win every ball, and just seems he needs to have a bit more patience. But it'd be nice to see him have a better season this year.
Yeah. I agree. I think, like you said, he was signed off the back of a really good World Cup, which is always a bit of an issue in terms of doing that. But hopefully it works out for him this year. I'm going to go into a bit of news that we probably could save for the if we're going to do a transfer section today, because I know we've got other stuff to talk about, but I'm just going to say it now. Daniel.
Can I have hold on?
Oh, go on.
Oh, exactly.
Daniel
I was going to say that exact one.
Yeah, Daniel De Rossi has joined Boca Juniors in what can only be described as a football manager transfer. It's absolutely brilliant. It's so good.
It's unexpected. It's weird, but it seems so right.
Yeah.
Him in a Boca shirt just seems so right.
Yeah, it's going to be absolutely amazing. He gave up the chance. I don't know if you read this about it. He gave up the chance to become a director of football to stay in the game and play with Boca Juniors. I love that. Love it.
Yeah.
He wanted a new adventure elsewhere, and he's bloody got it.
I mean, he has got it. He's gone from being a one-club man in Rome to then going, you know what? I'm just going to go over to Argentina for a bit. It's like, wow.
Do you reckon he looked down a list of transfers and was like, where has someone never moved from Roma to somewhere else? Where can I be the first person? Boca Juniors, Argentina.
Yeah.
Just love it. Absolutely love it.
I think he's previously spoken about his admiration for the club and wanted to go there, but to actually then fulfil that, and because a lot of players, I think Messi, is it Newell's old boys that he might go back to play with, something like that. Yeah.
So very.
So there's often players have those wants, and I think similar with Robin, he could have. I think Robin must have had chances to go back to Groningen and or PSV in Holland, but didn't do it. But to actually follow through on that and do it is very impressive.
Yeah.
So
definitely.
Hopefully that works out well for everybody.
So what else is in the news, mate?
Do you know what I don't know how I feel on this. Maybe this should be a poll, okay? Because obviously there was the El Tráfico derby in LA last week.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure how I feel about Zlatan now, because obviously we see less of his football. He's not playing top flight European football, but he's still as outspoken. I mean, are you a fan? He just chats a lot of shit, and he backs it up somewhat with his talent. But does he chat too much shit? Do you feel like he's?
I thought.
Do you enjoy his awaiting his comments? Or do you go, oh God, Zlatan?
When he was here here, obviously he wasn't in Singapore. When he was in the UK at United, and when he was at PSG and AC Milan and Barcelona and things like that, he backed it up playing at a good level, and I quite enjoyed his chat. And he does have the skill, and he does back it up. I honestly thought when he moved to the MLS, he would be scoring goals like he has done. But I thought his chat would have calmed down a bit. I didn't think it would be so much prevalent around, but then I don't know, is it the sort of thing where are the MLS having a chat with him and being like, you keep this up because this is giving us press, this is getting us
it's all a bit WWE.
Well, yeah, but is that coming from the MLS because that's what it's getting in the worldwide
surprise me. It's like
circuit sort of thing.
You are our biggest star, let's make sure you stay within the press so that you get the attention on the MLS. I wouldn't be surprised if that's the case.
Yeah. It's working.
He loves money. If he gets extra kind of endorsements from it, do you see? There's a quote from PK around Ibrahimovic saying how much Ibrahimovic went up to PK one day, said, "No, money's not everything," or something like this. Money's not everything, and PK's like, "God, Ibrahimovic always says he loves money," and then Ibrahimovic goes, having the most money is everything. It's like having all the money is everything. He is just very money orientated.
Bloody hell, yeah, okay. So I didn't know that, but yeah. I mean, I don't. Let's not take it away. He is still scoring a hell of a lot of good goals in the MLS as well. It's not just rubbish goals. He's scoring a hell of a lot of good goals, and I like him. I quite like him as a guy. It is a bit over the top.
Yeah.
I think it is encouraged by the MLS, but I don't have an issue with it per se. It's not. Yeah, it's not really my focal point at the moment. So
okay.
Yeah, I don't have too much to say about it. Does it bug you then? Does it really bug you that he's still chatting?
It's starting to. I used to be a big Zlatan fan and just thought he was the absolute don and just scored goals wherever he went. But now I almost feel like you're only able to chat like that because you're playing at such a lower standard. You aren't the player you thought you were, but you are in comparison to. I mean,
yeah, but
how long is this going to continue? He's going to drop down to play for in Ryman's league and go, yeah, you got nothing on Zlatan. It's like, Zlatan, mate, you're 46. Just shut it.
Josh, I'd pay to see that. I'd pay to see a 46-year-old Zlatan in the Ryman. Imagine a 46-year-old Zlatan turning up for Folkestone Invicta. Yeah, it'd be amazing. Yeah, absolutely amazing.
It would be great.
But I mean, like, Yeah, but do you not think he could still do it in like the French league or the Italian league or something like that?
He could still do something, but he is found him. He's gone down. He's dropping down levels to where he can still be the main man.
Yeah,
He wouldn't
okay.
be top scorer in certain leagues because he needs to be the top guy.
Yeah, yeah. I'll tell you what though, bloody good hat trick in El Trafico.
Yeah.
A bloody good hat trick. And talking about El Trafico, Arsenal, Said Kolasinac beating off two knived. I was going to say, I don't know what you should call it, carjackers? Attackers, yeah.
Attackers, yeah. Yeah. Oh,
was it you that tweeted?
Absolute credit to yeah, absolute Kolasinac. I mean, I tweeted he's not often known for his defending, but he did fantastic there, and credit to him because I mean that's a very scary situation to get yourself into, and to react like that, you know, fight or flight kicked in, and he fought, and yeah, it's horrible for both players to be involved with something like that, and I hope it doesn't start a trend of something, or it's not a wider problem. It's just a one-off. But yeah, absolutely fantastic from Kolasinac defending himself and Ozil and their wives as well. So, but
I mean,
they say they're all right, but I can imagine have it kind of repercussions. You know, you think you see some people on mopeds or something coming towards you. It will stay with them for a while. So hopefully
it will. Yeah, it definitely will. And they've Arsenal have said they've offered like support behind the scenes and counselling and stuff like that, which is really good. I mean, it just from the video that's been released, it just sort of looks like his sort of Eastern European background came in, and he was like, no way, you getting away with this. I'm going to beat you. Like beat the hell out of you. And to be fair to Ozil, I know a lot of people have used the old joke, Ozil disappears again in this sort of situation. But I'd say he did it. You know, if that was me and my wife, I'd get in a car and drive off. Like, oh, absolutely.
I think there's very. I mean, everybody watches kind of. You watch your John Wicks and your Deadpools. You think, yeah, I'm going to be that guy, or I'm going to be that guy just tackling him. And you think you're living Liam Neeson from Taken, but honestly, I imagine 90% of people would just shit themselves and drive off. So Kolasinac is kind of the 1% there, and yeah, there's nothing wrong with what Ozil did. He protected him. Yeah.
So yeah, definitely. But
all right.
Not too much else in the news. Anything else that you want to touch, or are you happy to
No, that's it from me. I think we should get your brain working now, Dave.
Oh God, here we go.
Here we go. Ooh la 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 la. Ooh la 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 la. Ooh la 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 la. It's quizzing time. Right.
Let's go.
Dave, are you ready?
Yes.
Thinking cap on.
It's on.
Okay. So I would like to know, and I looked through this list and I was like, you know what, I've never really thought of it this way before, so maybe it might catch you off a bit, but so I want to know the top transfer fees received by Premier League clubs, the top 10 transfer fees received by Premier League clubs.
Oh my word, do you actually want to know the actual fee?
No, sorry, the players.
The player.
I don't want you to tell me, sorry.
So like Cristiano Ronaldo, Man United to Real Madrid.
Yes. Do you want to? Can you add anything further? Can you go for a value there? I reckon you can.
Oh God, what was that? Like 79 million, 80 million? Was it
80 million? Yes.
Was it 80 million? Yeah. Okay. Where was that? Yeah. What number was that?
Third. That was.
Oh bloody hell! Okay. Gareth Bale, Tottenham to Madrid.
Yes.
That was wasn't that a world record fee at the time?
Yeah, that was higher. Yeah, that's like number 2.
92 million.
86.
Okay. Now what I've done here, Josh, is I've messed this up on my notepad because I started with Ronaldo on the second line, so now I don't have anywhere to write number 1.
Oh no.
Who is the most expensive sell? Sell? That's not a word. That's terrible English. Sale. Who is the most expensive sale? It's got to be really obvious.
It is, yeah.
It's got to be really obvious. Eden Hazard. Chelsea to Madrid, but he's got to be on the list.
Oh, I'm now questioning the date of this list, actually.
Because his was...
Oh, no.
Like potential to be 100 million.
This list must be out of date because he's not on it.
Oh, no. Josh didn't do his research. I've broken the quiz.
Josh assumed Wikipedia was okay.
Yeah. Unless it's not including add-ons and stuff.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah,
that's what it is.
Okay, all right then.
Well, I'll give you that as a +1. You got there's 11.
So I've got 11. Yeah, so I've got 11 to name, and I got the 11th. Okay. God, David Beckham. Would he have been on that to Madrid?
No, David,
must have been
David's not. No.
More expensive outs.
Remember, it's not just external. It's not just out of the Premier League. It's just received by a Premier League club.
Received by a Premier League club. Okay. Andy Carroll.
No, he
50
falls
million?
beneath.
Oh no, it was 35.
35
wasn't it?
million.
It was Luis Suarez
Yeah.
was sold for. No, yeah, Luis Suarez.
Yes,
I'll go with that.
you have Luis
Liverpool.
Suarez. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, you've got
So-
to. Yes.
Got there in the end. Fernando Torres is the one I was
Yes.
actually thinking of in the Andy Carroll scenario.
Yes, Liverpool to Chelsea. 50 million.
Received by a Premier League club. Oh, Lukaku.
Yes, number 4.
Yeah. Man United, Everton to Man United.
Yes.
Aaron Wan-Bissaka.
Oh God.
Yeah, because if Fernando Torres moved for 50 million, then Wan-Bissaka must be in there. Your list is wrong.
Is
Your
he? Is
list
he moved?
wrong.
Did he move for 50 million?
Yeah.
Or was it without add-ons? It went to 50
it's
million.
It's 40 million and then 10 million in add-ons.
Well, there you go then. Add-ons.
Okay, so
Get out my list.
It's a 12-man list. Aaron Wan-Bissaka. Okay.
This is embarrassing.
Yeah, for you, for once in the quiz.
Yeah.
Raheem Sterling. How much did he move from Liverpool to Man City? Like 52.
No, must have been beneath.
Oh, Josh, your list is horrendous. Your list is absolutely shocking. Right. Just give me the answers and we'll see how many you've actually got on there. We'll end the quiz early
I'm not
today.
giving you the answers. I'm having a look what Raheem Sterling went for. Raheem Sterling went for surely, no, initial 44. Oh, phew.
Oh, you're joking me. I'm not happy with this initial nonsense because they've clearly had to pay the whole fee.
You don't know what the add-ons were.
Right. Who else has been sold for loads of cash?
You haven't named number 1 yet.
No, I know. That's what I'm trying to think of.
You have one more guess and we'll go to
Is
the
number one
the main section.
into Premier League
Oh, Wan-Bissaka, 49.5 million. Get out.
transfer? Oh, you're joking.
Get out. Oh, I'm clawing this back.
You are just about. Is the number one transfer into Premier League or is it out of the Premier League?
No, it's out of Premier League.
Oh, okay. How much did Diego Costa move for?
No, that's it. Guess is over. We'll move on.
Okay, hang on.
You
So
have named.
I was getting confused by who was and who wasn't on the list. How many have I actually got that are on the list?
You've got 6 out of 11. As
Okay.
lists go.
Right.
So
I've
you're
got-
missing number 1, a joint 4th, a 7th, 8th, and joint 9th.
So I've got Bale, Ronaldo. Missing-
Lukaku, Suarez,
Yeah, hang on,
Torres,
hang on.
Hazard.
Hang on. I'm getting a mental list here. Missing 4th, missing 5th.
It's because there's a lot of joint ones, Dave. So
Oh God. Okay.
yeah.
Where was Suarez?
Yeah, just think of players. Don't worry about the flow of it. Just think of these players. They're lots of money. Just anyone above 50 million or above is your lower threshold.
All right. Okay. We'll come back to
Right.
that. Then. We'll come back to that.
We'll move on.
That was a mess. Apologies.
God, that was a
listeners.
shambles, wasn't it? That
Absolute
was a
shambles. Oh.
part of it. Dave's doing. I would like to add because he started naming players who are close, but with such authority in his voice, he felt like he'd made me feel stupid, but he hadn't.
Good. It means I know how to
So-
overthrow the quiz in future quizzes when I don't know the answer.
Yeah,
just say
sounds
authoritative
so
answers.
authoritative.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. What's next? Where are we going?
Preview.
Previews.
This
Yeah.
week. Yeah.
Yeah. Previewing. We're going to start previewing the top 6 from last year and go through a bit of the background of pre-season, how they got on last year, what they're looking like this year, where they could struggle, and things like that. And so we're going to start with myself, actually, Josh. I'm going to start. I'm suggesting.
Okay.
I'm going to start with Arsenal as
All
the
right.
first one. So coming up later on in the episode, so hold tight for that. We've got also me doing Man United and Josh taking on Spurs for our little bit of a preview. So Arsenal then, they've had an an interesting pre-season where they always play Boreham Wood and they always play the kids. They drew that 3-3. Then they went to America, beat Colorado Rapids 2-0, and then they started playing their ICC or Emirates Cup or whatever it is that they play in. They beat Bayern Munich 2-1, Fiorentina 3-0, drew with Real Madrid 2-2, and have beaten Barnet 3-2, which is impressive because they're not back in London yet, so that must have been like a backup team or something. But I mean, pre-season, can you read into anything with pre-season, or are you one of those people that are just sort of like, nah, don't worry about it?
No, I don't read anything into it. I think it's very much just a fitness thing. If you get result, I mean, I remember Spurs. I think they beat like Roma 5-0 one year, and that was the year that we went on to have a shocking start, winning like one of our first 7. So, no, I don't read too much into it at all. It's just a necessity, a necessary evil. It's just getting yourself out there, playing lots of games, and I don't think players are mentally at it or physically at it for that time.
Yeah. Okay then. So, I mean, coming into this season and the back of last season, obviously they missed out to the Champions League by 1 point, I think, wasn't it, behind Spurs at the end of it?
They were 1 point behind us, yeah.
And it was all a bit strange because they went on a really good run when Emre first came in. It was all full of hype of the new manager, the Arsene
Wenger.
Wenger.
Like 17 unbeaten or something like that.
Yeah.
They had a real long unbeaten run, yeah.
And like the Arsene Wenger era was over, and it was good. The club were going to move on, and then this sort of pre-season, it's the same sort of rumblings are there. They don't have a war chest for transfers, and everyone thought they would. And Lauren Koscielny coming out with his "I'm not going to go on the club's pre-season tour," and he's the club captain. I mean, without putting you in a very complicated place, Josh, put yourself in the fans' shoes of an Arsenal fan. What do you think, like, in pre-season this year, like with everything that's happened?
I think you probably hope that there's a little bit more to come in the few weeks left of a transfer window, because you've signed one kind of youth player, Gabriel Martinelli, who probably won't feature this year. You've signed Dani Ceballos, who on loan, who will feature this year but won't be there the following season. You've signed William Saliba, who won't feature this season, will feature next season. It's very short term, kind of either short term transfer or long term transfer. It's not the kind of initial impact you're hoping for and sustained impact.
I mean,
and you've lost a few players. I mean, major ones. Aaron Ramsey has gone so far, hasn't it?
Yeah, that's a huge
and
loss.
He's Ceballos. I mean, you're asking a lot. I think a lot of Arsenal fans will be hoping he's not another Denis Suarez, really.
Yeah, that was a very strange transfer.
Shocking loan.
Yeah.
But I think there's probably a little bit more to go. Maybe fullback, winger.
Well, I mean, interesting news
business
that's coming through right now, which I've just forwarded to you, actually, by WhatsApp, is that David Ornstein, David Ornstein, obviously quite famous
tier
with
1
Arsenal
he is, he's
stuff.
top notch. Yeah.
Apparently, Arsenal have reached an agreement with Lille to sign the Ivory Coast winger Nicolas Pepe for €80 million, paid over instalments to fit with AFC's budget. It's a 5-year deal, and the agent agreement is still needed, but the whole deal is set to be closed in the next 24 to 48 hours. Napoli had had an agreement in place with the Lille, but the agent rejected the proposal from the Italian team. So, is that the end of Zaha? Is that the end of hunting Zaha if that goes through? Surely it is. I mean,
yeah, I think so. I don't think Zaha ever really got off the ground. There's rumour of Everton with Zaha in the end. But maybe it must be the instalments that they can offer that would fit, because obviously that's similar value to Zaha.
Yeah.
Must be the instalments, but obviously if the agent rejected Napoli proposal and they're still awaiting agent agreement, that means it could
go wrong,
not materialise.
I
think it's. I'm still not overly convinced on Nicolas Pepe, to be honest. I think it'd be a much. As mentioned, kind of the transfers aren't that kind of long sustained. Positivity because with loans and transfer next year, again, signing a player from a French league, will he make an immediate impact? With Zaha, you're going to get that immediate impact. He knows the Premier League, he's well suited to it, and you're going to get an almost initial impact. With Pepe, he's had 2 seasons in league, done well both seasons, scored kind of 10 to 20 goals across the seasons, but it's a period of adaptation. Can he hit the ground running?
Yeah, totally agree. And I think another one that's been going on for a while is Kieran Tierney from Celtic. So that's been going around the rumour mill for what, about a month now, 3 weeks to a month.
Yeah,
And
hasn't it? Yeah.
it's been said that yes, a price was agreed, but it couldn't fit into the instalments that Arsenal wanted, and then they agreed another price, but there was too much related on bonuses because Celtic don't think Arsenal are going to get in the top four, and it was all related to that. And obviously, you don't know how much of this is true, but yeah. But I mean, it's a bit. It feels like Arsenal are a bit. I don't want to say Mike Ashley about the whole thing, but it's sort of like, oh yeah, look at what's going on in the background. Yeah, we're trying really hard, and like Mike Ashley sort of like, yeah, we are going to sell the club. We are selling Newcastle. Oh no, wait, it's going to fall through. Is there a bit of that about Arsenal's transfers? Is it a bit like, no, look, we are going for Zaha, we are going for Pepe, we are going for Tierney. Oh no, it's the other club's fault that it's not where it really worked.
Potentially, yeah, and all the. I mean, whether it's just because it. Straight away, Rumours was lack of money. I mean, all the deals that, I mean, even one you just mentioned from Ornstein was the fact that fits with instalments, like they're hard up. The add-ons for Tierney, it seems like they're hard up. Ceballos loan, although there's rumour they paid a bit of a fee for that as well. But yeah, it all seems doing things a bit on the cheap, and whether they all get there, Kieran Tierney, I think, will be a very good signing for them. But yeah, whether they'll just kind of buckle in the end and Arsenal just go right, whatever, because they do need a left back. But I'm not entirely sure on it, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, obviously the aim this year, you would say for them top four. It's quite a known fact. The whole reason we're previewing the top six is because 6 doesn't go into 4, and that's going to be the race this year, isn't it, to get into that top 4 spot? And it's like you mentioned, it's going to be really hard to replace the likes of Aaron Ramsey, who was at Arsenal for so long and integral to how they played. And it's going to be really hard to replace those sort of players. And then you've got the fans are sort of kicking off at the owners, Stan Kroenke, or Kroenke, however you pronounce his name. How long do you give, if it doesn't start well, how long do you give that fan backlash to move down from the board towards Unai Emery, or is it firmly fixed on the board now, do you think?
I think it'll be firmly fixed on the board for a while. I think that they've had enough of calling the manager out, and they realise it's a new era with Emery. But at the same time, I think that if Emery gets money to spend and has bought all these players, then it's somewhat on him. If he starts the season and he hasn't got these players in, then it's on the board because it feels like they haven't given the manager a chance. But if the manager's been given the money and the backing, I think there'll be a kind of, then that puts more pressure on the manager then, doesn't it? Because he's almost been given what he needs.
Yeah.
And then hasn't delivered.
Okay. So like some other notes that I've made here is, they have issues with central midfield. We've sort of covered. I still think there's a lot of pressure on Guendouzi to sort of replicate his form he had last year. Obviously he started very well, signed from Ligue 2 in France. Granit Xhaka, I think Arsenal fans have doubts about him. I know everybody that isn't an Arsenal fan has doubts about him. But then the big one surely has to be centre-back. Koscielny looks like he's probably going to leave. Mustafi's really below par. Holding has still got his big injury. Bellerin has still got his big injury. Obviously that's moving into the right-back position. But it's a
and Mavropanos as well had an injury. Yeah, I mean,
it's a very similar question to sort of United that I'll get onto later in that review, but in preview. But do you see any way they have a back four strong enough to challenge for the top 4? Like, even if everyone's fit, is that their undoing?
Yeah, absolutely. Emery just come out recently and said we need to improve defensively without limiting ourselves offensively, and it's always a balance with sides. Score lots of goals, concede more, and it's that kind of a sliding scale, isn't it? But if you have quality individuals in your back line, you can then trust them more. But really, you trust Bellerin at right back, but he's coming back from a massive injury. You probably don't really trust any left back they've got. Kolasinac really can't defend. Nacho Monreal is getting on, has been a little bit frail. And then at centre backs, it's just accidents waiting to happen, is it? Socrates loves a red card. Mustafi loves diving in. Callum Chambers played a lot of season in midfield. Rob Holding again come back from massive injury. It's just porous. It really is. I mean, Christ, who's going to start at right back? Is it going to be Carl Jenkinson to start the season at right back?
Well, in my predicted lineup with the squad as it is now, I've got Maitland-Niles starting at right back because that's what they did last year.
Again, and we saw how frail he was in the Europa League final. He was at fault for a couple of the goals. He's not a right back. He's a centre mid, maybe a kind of wide man. But it's defensively they're all over the shop.
Yeah.
And you can't you can't. They're going to really struggle again this year.
Yeah.
Because they're weaker overall, I'd say.
Okay. Well, I mean, moving on to a bit more positive news and stuff for Arsenal in this sort of preview. Key player. I mean, I've listed Aubameyang. Goals is what's going to get them out of trouble. I think, like you said earlier, the back four's not quite up to scratch, and I think it's going to be a. Can you describe it as a sort of Brazil of the 90s? Was in we're going to try and score more than you tactic. Obviously, him and Lacazette had a great partnership up front last season. Aubameyang joint Golden Boot winner. There was rumours that it was Man United were going to make a bid for him, and I think it was a bit of a nothing rumour. But I would have loved him at United, proven goal scorer, sort of a Van Persie sort of mould. If you ask
it would have been a very Van Persie transfer because he's 30 years old, but he'll get you goals all the time. But I mean, the difference between when you signed Van Persie, he pushed you towards the title. Signing Aubameyang for United would just push you into the top four, maybe.
Yeah, I know what you mean. But is there anyone else you see as a key player other than Aubameyang for this Arsenal team?
I'm interested. Obviously, Ozil's still there. He's obviously one with a lot of talent, but I really don't see him. You'd like to see him come back in the fray because I loved Ozil as a player in the early days. He just a few seasons now he's gone missing. I think Lucas Torreira had a good start to last season. A lot of Arsenal fans are saying signing of the season, player of the season, really tailed off near the end. But it's more of a youth players I'm excited to see come through. Actually,
okay,
my ones to watch for next year.
Yeah, that's the next thing I was going to get onto. So, who's your ones? Who have you got to watch for Arsenal?
There's a few. So in the Europa League final, I was really impressed by Joe Willock coming on. He looked really lively. We have Eddie Nketiah, who bagged a few goals in pre-season, but I think the one who might be best equipped, who had first team football last year, be Reece Nelson on the wing. Was it at Hoffenheim last year? I love seeing young players come through, and Arsenal have always had a lot of exciting youngsters come through. Not always made it, but they've always been a hotbed for youth talent, and so hopefully someone can actually kind of make it this year, but that'd be quite interesting to see.
Yeah. Okay then. So I mean, it's like a starting. I don't know if you. Obviously, this is my sort of preview, so I don't know if you thought about it, but like starting lineup. What do you envision for the first game of the season? Newcastle away from home. What do you envision?
Newcastle away from home again. That's you'd Arsenal be backing themselves there, wouldn't they?
Newcastle are pretty much
in a bit of
constant turmoil, so yeah, you'd think Arsenal would back themselves.
Although they have signed, we'll mention quickly, they've signed Joe Linton from the Bundesliga, who we mentioned previously. I think we mentioned as a rumour last week. Now signed. He really does need someone else up top with him because he does a lot of running, fair few assists and goals, but he's not going to be able to do it alone. So they need to sign someone else up front with him. I don't think Dwight Gale is going to be the man. No. But in terms of Arsenal's lineup, I think Bernd Leno and goal had a really good season overall last year. Obviously, they've sold Ospina. But yeah, I think Maitland-Niles. I think when you start a season, you always try and keep it as similar to what you ended last year as if you can. New players, if they've signed them, take a little bit of time to develop. So you maybe kind of drip feed them in. I know, as a fan, you want to see, yes, let's have our new five signings all in the first 11. It's like, hold on, let's just settle everybody in first. And obviously, Arsenal haven't got that many signings to put in, but I think so. I personally wouldn't expect to see Ceballos starting the first match. I don't think.
Okay, fair enough. I've got.
So what have you got as a lineup? Have you got?
I've got Leno in goal, Maitland-Niles right back, Socrates and Monreal in the centre, with Kolasinac starting at left back. Just because I purely just don't think Emre will pick Mustafi. Across the midfield three, Xhaka, Ceballos and Ozil, and then your front three, I've actually gone with Aubameyang, Lacazette and Mkhitaryan to start. I don't think he'll chuck Reece Nelson straight in coming back. But yeah, that's what I'm predicting Arsenal go for. Any Arsenal fans listening, let us know in the comments below what you think your starting lineup would be. And then I guess the last thing, Josh, is just their 5 opening fixtures. Newcastle away,
hit me.
Burnley at home, Liverpool away, Spurs at home, Watford away. What do you think's a sort of a target from those 5 games?
The first 3 sounded all right, didn't they?
Well, Liverpool away from home was a third game, isn't
was it third? So the first 2 sounded all right. Then it was
Newcastle Burnley.
It gets yeah, Newcastle Burnley. But I think it's all on that opening game. Say opening game doesn't go well, say it's a draw because Newcastle was seen almost as a kind of a teams last year almost ended a bit of a whipping boy because Bruce has come in, they've sold a few players. If that doesn't go according to plan, then Burnley, I think Burnley obviously no European football this season as they did last year. They'll put up a tough chance. Although Arsenal are reasonably good against Burnley, and then straight into Liverpool, and then Spurs. That's a high pressured first 5 games actually.
Yeah,
I didn't realise.
If you think you've got, I think I agree with you. I think Newcastle, Burnley, you'd be aiming for 6 points because you don't think you're going to win Liverpool at Anfield, and Spurs at the Emirates is always going to be a tough game, and then Watford as well, who are on the up under Javi Gracia. It's tough. It's a tough first 5, to be honest. Or well, it's a tough second 3, second lot of 3.
Yes,
but yeah, I mean, I didn't have too much else to sort of review about Arsenal. It's
no, and we're not going to go into where we predict them because we'll do a predictions podcast in a few weeks' time. But yeah, I think it's good that they've got the manager in for a second season. That's good for continuity. I feel like their side's been a bit weakened so far in the transfer window as we currently talk. But who knows how the remaining transfer window is going to go. And it may be a bit more positive for them, and they can start off the season with a bit more hope than they currently do.
Yeah, I'd very much agree. Okay, so we'll move from one North London club. Josh, why don't you go into your... what I'm sure
Let's go into Spurs, shall we? Yeah, so...
well-rounded Spurs preview.
Yes, so Spurs limped into 4th position last year behind City, Liverpool and Chelsea. After we were kind of right in the title race in late February with 11 games to go. I think we were probably like 5-6 points adrift at that point, and then we just collapsed. Because last year we signed 0 players, and I think our squad was just kind of very thin at that time, carrying a lot of injuries, as we've seen by a fair few minor operations this summer on a number of Spurs players. So yeah, without the Champions League run, if we had to just focus on the league run last year, it ended in disaster really. We obviously managed to get top 4 because Arsenal collapsed, but yeah, we really tailed off badly at the end of last year.
Very much the similar. You're in the fight with who didn't want the top 4 spot. If you think of United,
yes,
Arsenal,
it was.
and Spurs,
yeah, it was
all messing up.
Battle to chuck that away, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But obviously then we had the Champions League final, which didn't go our way. But then I think it's good. A lot of players have got a good rest this summer. I mean, Heung-min Son last year played a number of international tournaments. Obviously, Gareth Bale. Think of my fan favourites, Harry Kane. It's really good to see him get a good rest this summer. And as I mentioned, a couple of players getting those minor operations to alleviate any niggling injuries, which you don't often think of players. You think if a player lines up, he's fully fit, but I imagine a lot of players rarely feel ready and 100% raring to go. So then we move into pre-season. We've also been in Asia playing in International Champions Cup. We've beat Juve. We mentioned that earlier with Harry Kane's lovely long-range effort. Lost to United, and we've got a few more games to play against Real and Inter. But yeah, not much to read into it. It's kind of just getting miles in the legs, isn't it? And showcasing new kits really is pre-season. But yeah, it's always nice to see him on TV a bit and just get a few players. It'd be nice to have a few more new signings on show. And Dembele is the only one so far who's looks pretty decent. But yeah. It'd be nice because that's always exciting when you see players line up. So we've only signed Dobele and Jack Clark. Jack Clark's obviously gone back on loan to Leeds.
Yeah.
But I'd expect a few more ins. We seem to be linked with the kind of Argentinian national team at the moment with Chelsea. And I mean, what do you reckon about this one? Dybala being linked to Spurs has been a bit of a shock one.
Yeah, and United, isn't it? In a similar sort of day like yesterday and today. It's 2 sort of rumours mills that are going. One to Spurs. Apparently, Spurs lodged a bid and it was rejected, and they're going to go back with another one. So
I would be flabbergasted if we sign.
I just want to see him in the Premier League. I just want to see him in the Premier League. I don't really care who for. I just want to see him in the Premier League, as long as it's not Man City.
All right, we'll take him. All right, we'll do it.
Yeah. I've got a question for you, just on the pre-season that you said. What did you feel about like the more aggressive nature, let's say, of Spurs in pre-season with Ndombele, Sissoko? I'm talking obviously about the Man United game where Sissoko seemed to be a bit rough with Daniel James on a couple of occasions, and there was
he did, didn't he? And I think I mean That stamp in the corner, I think you've got to accept that Sissoko doesn't really know what his legs are doing. So we've seen that with a ball at his feet. So I wouldn't read too much into that. But yeah, it was a
Do you
little
think
bit.
it's more of a Pochettino tactic for a bit more of aggressive, forward pressing? This is what
Yeah,
he wants them to do?
Pochettino definitely is the more aggressive type, and has brought that out in us. I mean, there's that Battle of the Bridge a few years back. Still one of my favourite. Even though it meant an end to our title bid, I just loved seeing Eric Dyer tear Fabregas apart. Really, it was just lovely. But yeah, I don't really think it's necessary. I think you can. I don't like to see the aggression in pre-season, especially because it is really a friendly. It's a showcase. It's just kind of building fitness. So yeah, I don't really like to see. I don't want to see anyone injured from pre-season. 'Cause that's a real shame.
Yeah.
So and Pochettino apologised to Man United after, which
He
I thought
did.
was a lovely touch because the man is absolute class.
He is. Sorry, back to your preview. Go on.
Yeah, looking through our squad, obviously we've had just that one in, which was effectively replacing Dembele, who got transferred out in January. We've had a couple of left on frees, so reserve keeper Michel Vorm, reserve striker Fernando Llorente. We finally sold Vincent Janssen. Gone.
It's about Australia, isn't it? Has he gone to Australia? Or?
No, Mexico. He's gone to Monterrey in Mexico. Yeah.
You even got money for
that's
him.
What all. We got money for him. Yeah, I don't know what happened there, but that was quite intriguing. Then obviously Trippier out to Madrid. So none of the players who've gone are major losses, I don't think, because I mean Trippier had an awful season last year. Janssen played 3 matches and was basically out. Vorm and Llorente had played their part, but you think you could probably improve it. But they all need to be replaced, I'd say.
Yeah.
So at the moment, I do have concerns around our squad because I think fullback is my main concern, really. Because we're set to. I mean, we started the Champions League final with Trippier and Rose at right and left back. Look both to leave the club, and replacements either a right back doesn't seem like we're actually going to replace anyone. Because we have Kyle Walker-Peters, Juan Foyth, who played a couple of games for Spurs there last year and played for Argentina in the Copa America there. Looks like he might deputise there, which to be confirmed really. And at left back, we seem to be linked with Ryan Sessegnon, who I think is a great talent, but he's shown his talents further up the pitch so far. I think it'll be I mean, there's a lot of games that Spurs could play which without needing a solid defensive left back really. I mean, there's probably the bottom half of the table, you could probably go, we can get away with having a really attacking fullback, so that's 20 games a season.
Yeah.
There's probably other games where you might be winning, bring him on, and where you need to push for a result, or in League Cup. So I think he'll get his game time. It's just that if he has to play and be that defensively sound player against the top 6, I think it will get found out, because I don't think his defensive talent's there yet. So I think that will maybe long term is the best move for us to get him in if we think he can get more defensively solid at left back. But I think in the short term it will be a reduction of defensive quality by bringing him in.
Okay.
But, so I mean, we used to have the 2 best fullbacks in the league. Now we don't. So that's a bit,
Okay, don't depress yourself too much of your own preview of your club.
Yeah, so hopefully a bit more business to be done between now and the transfer window closing. Maybe a fullback, a couple of midfielders, and maybe a striker. But that leads me on to players to watch out for, because I think that we have got some hope there. So in youth player wise, players to watch out for, I love a bit of Troy Parrott, striker who's come in very young, I think 17, 18.
Looks useful. Look useful in pre-season.
Looks useful, doesn't he? Yeah, he's a real talent. And that's probably why Spurs have been hesitant to replace or bring in a long-term backup to Harry Kane, because they probably see this guy as being the person. So there's rumour we're going to re-sign Llorente, which will be that kind of maybe Parrott and Llorente kind of dovetail as backup to Kane, and you can understand that if they think they've got a talent there, why would they spend 30-40 million on someone who's going to play a handful of games?
Yeah, very true.
But as a standout player as an established player, I think this could be Harry Winks' season. He's had a real tough time with injuries over previous seasons. He's had a good season under his belt now. He's going to have hopefully much more quality around him in midfield, so he's not going to have to run the show. And this could be the time that he actually stamps his claim for his England place, because he's only got a handful of England caps, yet he's the kind of a player that England have been crying out for. I mean, you've seen Winks in Champions League matches, just looks at home against better opposition, kind of running that kind of that deep lying midfield, and so hopefully that's where he can really establish himself this year.
Yeah, I think a lot as well. I know we can't take too much into pre-season, but is it Oliver Skip? He's looked pretty useful.
Yeah, Oliver Skip.
Well.
Yeah, he played a little bit last year as well, and he got a real tough time last year because he was effectively coming in and he wasn't just coming in and playing a few minutes. He was actually, I think a lot of people thought he was kind of Harry Winks Mark II. He's only, I think he's like probably about 4 or 5 years younger than Winks. There's a lot of pressure on his shoulders, and he was playing in a very threadbare midfield. But yeah, again, with better players around him, if he can have a few more minutes, yeah, I think he's a talent as well.
Yeah, cool. All
right. So I think now if we look at the aspirations for the season, I think Spurs, it's very similar to last season, really. We want to push City as hard as we can for the title. I don't think we'll get there, but I think anyone will topple City. But we need to improve on scraping fourth. I think Liverpool be a bit lower than last year. I think we need to be up. So I think we need to make sure we're much more comfortable in the top 4. And also we need that good cup run. We had Champions League last year, which was sublime. It was one of my until the final was one of the greatest times of being a Spurs fan. But a cup run is fantastic, and I think really is still that trophy is a must. We need to get a trophy just to stop people talking about not having a trophy.
Is it all in for the Carling Cup or whatever League Cup, whatever it's called nowadays?
We rarely ever are, though. I think FA Cup we should go all in for. I think I'd still feel a bit like, and I think the media would be the same. Like, oh, I only got the Carling Cup. It's like, okay, I understand.
Yeah. Fair enough. I mean, a pretty easy question probably for you to answer. Key player for the season? I assume Harry Kane.
Yes, but I also think that Ndombele and maybe if Lo Celso signs, that extra midfielder who's got that bit of talent is going to be key for us, because it's something we've been missing. We've had to rely on the kind of brute force of Sissoko, and therefore Eriksen and Ali really haven't performed as well, because they've had to kind of really cover the kind of creative section, and they've had to move around in positions. So I think by replacing Dembele with Ndombele, we've balanced our midfield much more. So I really think if we could find Lo Celso as well, that gives us manage to rotate midfield, manage to keep it fresh, and therefore you see Harry Kane will be better for it, because he'll be fed better from better midfielders, and the midfielders that are already there will be much more less fatigued and more kind of on it to feed him goals. So I think Harry Kane this year as well, I think is going to be, barring injury obviously, I think this could be a real big season for him, breaking the 30-goal barrier.
Okay.
And really pushing on.
Wow. Okay. So before we just get into the opening fixtures and what your predicted starting lineup is with the squad you currently have, positive? Are you feeling positive for the season? Like, what's it? 1 week until the transfer window shuts, and 8-9 days or something till the league starts. So you're positive. Actually, it's a bit more than that, isn't it?
Yeah, I am positive, and I know I am positive. We're not in a worse place than last year. We've obviously got Ndombele in, so I think we're in a better place than last year. We have fresh players. We have obviously a quality manager. So yeah, I am positive for this year. I think just that a few signings would really tip us over the edge and make me very happy.
Okay, all right. So what's your opening 5 fixtures? You're playing Arsenal at some point, but
yes, we are. Yeah, so we start with Villa at home, which is quite nice. You see here we've got a very winnable home matches, difficult away matches. So Villa at home, City away, Newcastle at home, Arsenal away, Palace at home, Leicester away. So Villa, Newcastle, and Palace at home, which I think is very manageable. But City, Arsenal, and Leicester away. Declining in difficulty, but yeah, it could be a mixed bag in those opening. That's 6 matches. Opening 6 matches could be a very mixed bag there.
Is that City game a sort of? Do you think it will be one of those where it's because it's 2 big teams so early on in the season, it's a draw written all over it? Like neither team wants to lose.
I'd hope so. That'd be a bloody good result. Yeah, I think it does come in early, which is not the worst thing, because as soon as City get into their stride, they're a formidable beast. But I mean, they normally hit the ground running. They lost 4 matches last year, 2 matches the season before. So I think if you're expecting to win against City, you're pushing it, because they don't actually really lose against the top 6 either. They've lost kind of odd matches, but yeah, it's a massive match. Because imagine if you beat Villa, lose to City, draw at Newcastle because they're a bit of a bogey side, then Arsenal match gets a massive amount of pressure on it. So it's tough. Yeah,
it's a very mixed start, those first 6 fixtures, and then so what about the starting lineup then? Squad as it is right now.
As it is right now, so obviously Hugo in goal. We've gone to a bit of a 4-4-2 diamond now. So I'd go Hugo in goal, Toby and Jan at centre back. I'd probably go Kyle Walker-Peters at right back. He's played a bit in pre-season, and I think I'd like to see him given a real chance. Sergio Aurier obviously played in the AFCON. Davies or Rose at left back. Rose again. Davies again is recovering from injury. Rose has been back in England looking for a move, so take your pick out of those. But the diamond I think will be intriguing. So I think Harry Winks will be playing Ericsson, and Ndombele and Ali will be the Winks. So Winks sitting at the base, top, and Ericsson and Ndombele kind of running things centrally, and then Kane and Son up top. I think that's kind of. I think we'll see. Basically, that'll be the crux of it throughout the season. Maybe a change at fullback, but that core will be there to stay hopefully for the full season.
Yeah, cool. All right, yeah, good. It's good to hear that you're quite positive about it as well. I think Tottenham are nailed on for top 4 next year. I think we'll get onto Man City and Liverpool in next week's episode in the top 6 preview. But I think Spurs are looking in a very positive place right now, I'd say.
Yeah. No, I think it's within our capabilities to bring more hope to the season with the signings we can make before now and the end. It's not like massive, like lots of players are wanting out. There's obviously the Ericsson rumour, but I think we can definitely garner more hope before now and the transfer window shutting.
Yeah, I think obviously the new stadium's a big positive as well, because having a whole season.
Yeah, straight in there from the off. So yeah, that's a good point.
Really good. Okay, cool. Well, thanks for that. I mean, let's move on to my beloved Red Devils then. So pre-season wise, it's gone exceptionally well, I think I would say. Not that we judge too much for pre-season, but 2-0 win against Perth Glory, 4-0 win against Leeds, 1-0 win against Inter Milan, and then beating Spurs 2-1 in Shanghai. But I think the main thing you can take away is that, well, 2 points really. One is that all the goals were scored or assisted by a youth academy product, which this year seems to be quite a key thing for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and the Man United team, and the fact we only conceded 1 goal. Now I know it's pre-season, but the big thing about Man United is how bad their defence is generally all around. So it's
we can thank Lucas Moura for that.
Yes, it's very encouraging that we only conceded 1 goal, and it was Spurs. Yeah, cheers. In pre-season, so. Yeah, I'm pretty positive at the moment. I mean, transfers in only 2, sort of a similar situation to Spurs, apart from we're playing all of our signings. Daniel James in from Swansea, just pure pace on the wing. He looks like he is going to be very dangerous. It's just going to be interesting to see what his end product's like actually in the Premier League, because he's had enough time and space in pre-season that he hasn't had to worry about it too much. He's had enough time to like bomb past someone, stop, get his head up, and then put a cross in, where not really doing it on the run. So we're interesting to see how he does with his final ball. But signs so far are promising, but nowhere near as promising as Aaron Wan-Bissaka. That guy looks like I was sceptical. 50 million, only played 1 season for Crystal Palace. He looks incredibly good at right back. He looks like the nickname Spider-Man, I think, is what he is, or Spidey or something. I don't know if you saw the pre-season games, but literally no one could get past him. His legs are so gangly.
A one-on-one defender, he is fantastic. And he obviously got a lot of pace, tracks back. There was one clip of him tracking back, was fantastic. So yeah, he's a very good, defensively one-on-one, very good defender. I think never been in doubt.
Yeah, and I think that's what we need this year. I think there won't be as much pressure on the fullbacks to attack, especially on the right-hand side, because in front of them is going to be someone along the lines of Martial, Greenwood, Rashford, Chong, and you're just not going to ask them to defend. You're going to be our counter-attacking outlet when we get the ball. And I think that's what's really good to see. And it is. I was quite a big fan of Diego Dalot. I was quite excited when he joined, but it's such a big step up from Dalot to Aaron Wan-Bissaka. And then Luke Shaw, I was going to say looks fitter. He's still a bit of a chubster for a footballer, but I think that's just his natural build. But again, it's like much rather have the 2 fullbacks in Shaw and Wan-Bissaka than Diego Dalot and Ashley Young, which is a huge step up. So I'm quite good with that, but I think we do need more signings, and that takes me on to who we've been rumoured with. We've already mentioned Dybala. Harry Maguire's been going on for absolutely ages. Bruno Fernandes has been going on for a while. The guy's name who I can't say, so I'll call him Milkman Savic.
Sergei Milinkovic-Savic.
Yeah.
Yes.
Longstaff, Koulibaly. I mean, the list just keeps on going and going and going. I think the main annoyance I have as a fan is actually the lack of ability to move people on, get some of the deadwood out that we need to get rid of. Now, I'm not saying people like Sanchez, because his wage is just going to be such a stumbling block for clubs, but you know, why is the Lukaku deal taking so long to get out? We're trying to recoup our money, but in the scape of £5 million, that's a lot of money to me and you. Into Man United, that's a dip in the ocean. Just let him go for £5 million cheaper to Inter Milan, get it done, and use that money to rebuild in the squad. So that's been a little bit annoying from this sort of pre-season in the summer.
Do you still have players like Matteo Darmian as well?
Yeah,
surely he needs to be.
Matteo Darmian's there. He's been linked with a move to Torino for about 18 months now, and nothing's
Marcus
happened.
Rojo's still there.
Marcus Rojo's still there, and he started the last game at centre back as well. Phil Jones, I think, is someone that could move on. I think Chris Smalling will stay. I think Chris Smalling gets a bit of a bad rap. I don't think he's as bad as people make out. It's just that he brain farts in quite big games, which is obviously
Fosu Mensah probably needs to.
Fosu Mensah could go. And then you've got, Matic isn't really going to fit around what Solskjaer wants to do this year, and I think.
Yeah, but that's a real gap, though, isn't it? He's the only one who can play in that position, really. I mean, it's got McTominay maybe, but
I know what you mean, but I think it's. I'd rather see some movement in players going out to give us the cash for people to come in and things like that, if that's the problem. But yeah, it's just a bit of a bugbear at the moment. That it seems to be why are we holding out for big fees on players that we know aren't going to play? I mean, the obvious one is Marcus Rojo. Why on earth are we holding out for a certain fee when he's nowhere near good enough to play for our first team? Just let him go. Pay off his contract if you have to. Let's just get it sorted and get him out the door. But yeah, it's a bit annoying. But I mean, going on to a bit more of a general preview rather than just moaning about Ed Woodward, pretty much. I mean, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's come in. Pre-season has shown he wants to play this sort of a higher pressing game. He wants to get it in the form of Liverpool and Spurs and Man City trying to win the ball back and not relying too much on attacking fullbacks. So they are there to primarily defend, which is obviously Aaron Wan-Bissaka's come in. But pace, fluid front three. That's a tongue twister to say when you're absolutely hammered. The reliance on youth coming through the youth academy. He looks very keen to introduce these new players that are going to maybe not be the best in terms of skill and strength and playing level, but are going to fight for the shirt. And I think that's what we were missing.
Yeah, it's definitely year. It's not always away. It's not all about talent, is it?
Yeah, and I think that's what we're missing. And it's the whole pre-season. It really looks like we've built around sort of a two of Pogba and McTominay. And I've slated McTominay from time to time, saying I don't think he's going to cut it, but he has had a very productive pre-season. He's been very good in that midfield role. I think he could replace Matic. He's a bit more box-to-box than Matic, but I think Matic is just too slow. Matic looks too slow for what we're trying to do for this United team, and that's why I think we're after Bruno Fernandes and Milkman-Savic, because they're the sort of players that are going to replace the Herrera and give you more options in that midfield. But it's a tough one because, again, like I said for the Arsenal review, 6 doesn't go into 4, so 2 teams are definitely going to miss out, or 2 teams that you would expect to get challenging for top 4 are going to miss out, and then you've got the likes of Everton, Leicester, Wolves, all going to be closing the gap. I mean, it's going to be very, very tough. But I think overall, I am positive after what I've seen I'm a lot more positive now after what I've seen in pre-season than I was at the end of last season, with obviously how it finished with losing to bloody Huddersfield and Cardiff. It couldn't have been much more depressing. But what's your thoughts of it?
At the moment, do you feel like your squad's actually better than it was last year, though? You've brought in Daniel James and Wan-Bissaka, but you've lost Herrera. I know you weren't a big fan, but Valencia's gone. Do you feel like you're net up? Are you at the moment?
I think we're about even, purely because it looks like Solskjaer's going to use more of the youth, which I think does give us a better balance to the squad. Right back is a key position we need to sort out, and we've done that with Aaron Wan-Bissaka. So the key is we need to get a central midfielder in to make us up on last season, because I would have kept Ander Herrera. Like, I was a big fan of Ander Herrera.
Agreed,
I would have kept him in. Obviously, we took too long to get the contract sorted, then we couldn't pay what PSG were offering. And I don't want it to be we're only going to sign a central midfielder when Pogba is sold sort of thing. I want us to get a central midfielder now, and then if we sell Pogba, we have another one coming in as a replacement. So we are one up on central midfielders.
Yeah. Actually, it just seems like there's a lot still to be done for United. I just feel like, because
Yeah.
Lukaku to go out, and I've not heard of any real replacement for Lukaku. Maybe
Well,
Mr. Dembele,
I
but
think
I mean,
if
you still
Lukaku
need
goes, if Lukaku goes, I
yeah.
think Greenwood is being eyed up as
Yeah,
a
but
direct replacement.
that's a massive step down. Lukaku, as much criticism he gets, he is a natural goal scorer.
I like Lukaku.
He scores
yeah.
a lot of goals.
I think Lukaku.
And so to replace him with a player, I mean, he's probably a handful of Premier League games is a risk. And so, you've got 6 centre backs, all of whom are average. You still need a centre back in. You still need a centre mid in. You're losing kind of 15 goals a season, Lukaku. I think there's just still so many big voids in the side that I'm a little bit concerned.
I think I can see where you're coming from. I think the problem with centre backs is that I don't think we can really bring one in until someone's gone, because like you said, we've got 6, and I think Edward would, looking at the balance sheet and everything like that, will say, well, why do you need another one? Why should we go and pay 80 million for Harry Maguire? Now that may change because Eric Bailly has just crocked himself again, which I think will force the hand. Whether Harry Maguire, the problem I've got with Harry Maguire is if you're going to pay 80 million for Harry Maguire, just stump up an extra 10 million quid and get Koulibaly, who is a better centre back.
Does he want it though?
Well, that's the thing. Does he want to come? We don't need the homegrown numbers, but that's always going to be playing on the door. It does look like Ole's going for a sort of British spine to the team. In some degree, but I think it's a tough one. It is a tough one. I think Lukaku, I agree with you, Lukaku's a goal scorer. He's got a bad rap this season. He doesn't fit into what Solskjaer wants to do. You've made me a little bit depressed because I was
okay.
positive.
So what about your start to the season then? How's it look in fixture wise?
So we've got Chelsea. Chelsea at Old Trafford is what kicks us off, which I think has a 0-0 draw written all over it because neither Ole or Lampard will want to lose their first game. Wolves away, Palace at home, Southampton away, Leicester at home. So it could be, a draw against Chelsea. Wolves away will be pretty tough. You'd expect us to beat Palace at Old Trafford. Southampton away, they look good under Hassan Hutel like last season, and he's going to have pre-season with everybody. Leicester under Brendan Rodgers, going to be a tough game, but again at Old Trafford I'd expect us to beat them. It's very sort of thing. It's like it can make or break our season, but we could easily come out of that with 5 wins from 5. We could easily come out of it.
What I've got
with 2 wins from 5.
It's the unpredictable nature of it at the moment, isn't it? It's that because you're a side going through a big change. A lot of sides there are quite settled. Like Liverpool quite settled, City are quite settled, Spurs are quite settled, Arsenal a little bit of change, Chelsea a little bit of change. You have the 3 who are the uncertainties to get that last spot, as we can't talk, are all in a little bit of turmoil, aren't they?
Yeah, I totally agree, and
which is a risk in itself.
And I think that's it's just so tough because I'm very, very, as a United fan, I think you said player, that'd be lovely. As a United fan, I'm very excited to see the youngsters been given a chance. Tuanzebe looks like he might be given a chance at the club to play next to Lindelof at centre back, which could be a very good mix if Lindelof can step up and be the leader of the line at the back, the captain of the centre of the defence sort of thing. Chong looks lightweight but looks very skillful, very quick. Greenwood, Gomez, even Joe Garner in central midfield looks like he could be pretty useful. I mean, my one to watch is obviously Mason Greenwood. I think he's going to be given a lot of chances. He's 2-footed, can score.
He does. I must admit, he does look good.
He does look very good. But again, if he doesn't get off to a good start, what happens then? And it's the same with, you can say the same with Martial.
Can you still have the faith in youth?
Yeah, it's a similar thing with that. I mean, Martial started his Man United career unbelievably well when he first joined, and then it dropped off and he never really got it back, and he looks somewhat reinvigorated now, but it's always in the back of your mind, like, I'm loving the fact we're going to give youth a chance, but if it falls through, if you lose 3 of those opening 5 games, what the hell do you do? Because you've got to wait until January.
Solskjaer's wanting to kind of mirror how Fergie behaved, but Fergie was often winning matches, had a very good squad around it, and then could drip feed youth in. When you're 3-0 up, 4-0 up, or you're going to come to win this match because you've got great players around him. Whereas
and I think,
it seems like your youth players are maybe not to the standard of they were previously, and also filling senior player positions.
Yeah, and I think the difference between Fergie and Ole is Fergie was ruthless, and he had a chairman with David Gill that was ruthless with him. If Fergie said, "Nah, just get rid of this guy, sell him for whatever you can, and let's go and after this guy and get someone in," David Gill would go for it and try his hardest to make it happen. As I said, Ed Woodward seems to be a case of, well, no, we've got sell-on value here that we need to try and recoup and try and get hold of. I mean, Marcus Rojo is the obvious example, as I said before. If that was Fergie and David Gill, he'd be out the door probably 12 months ago, like when he first came back from just before he did his injury. But I think that's the problem at the moment, is that the club is revolving too much around money, and it's annoying. It's very annoying. It's very similar to Arsenal in that sense, that it's being revolved around sell-on value and instalments and transfers like that. I mean, just to bang on about Ed Woodward, Aaron Wan-Bissaka is the clearest thing. We made an offer. Palace said, no, we want 50 million. So we made another offer. Palace said, no, we want 50 million. And then we ended up paying 40 million with 10 million in add-ons, which are definitely going to be, because they're appearance-based, not competition-based bonuses, apparently. So he's definitely going to play enough games at Man United to factor in that 10 million. So he might as well just paid 50 million outright. It just boggles my mind. But yeah, overall though, yeah, I am positive, believe it or not.
Why?
I am positive, but it could, if we lose to Chelsea at home at Old Trafford, that positivity will go pretty quickly. I think.
Okay.
The appointment of Ole, what it has done is it has galvanised the fans, and if it goes wrong, it'll all be pointed towards the board. I think Ole is going to be safe from fans' backlash for quite some time. I think.
Agreed.
Yeah.
So your aspirations then? So obviously, I mean, it's top. Is it similar to Spurs, I suppose, isn't it? Although I think the top four is a bit of a tougher ask, but yeah, top four and some from the cup run.
Yeah, I think I would gladly sacrifice everything and get top four. I would throw away both cups and get top four. I'm not too fussed about a cup run. I think this is very much a transition season, so top four is the key. That's what we want. I would love us to go and win the Europa League again. If we're in it, let's go and take it seriously. Like, it's Champions League you can get into that way now. That's the end goal, isn't it? Champions League. So yeah, I would take a Europa League win if we wanted to. But yeah, ultimately, top four is the aspirations. I would take 5th or 6th with a Europa League win.
All right.
My worry is that it goes all tits up and we finish bottom half of the table.
Yeah, I think there is that underlying frailty in your confidence there, Dave.
Yeah,
the cracks will start to appear pretty quickly.
Yeah, it is. But that's the thing, Josh. On the flip side of it, if the likes of Greenwood, Chong, Gomez, Martial, Rashford, James all start on all cylinders firing and we get off to a good start, then everybody will be scared of playing this fluid front three, like, that we could put out, and you can rotate it and it won't matter. So I think it really does come down to those first 3 games, Chelsea, Wolves and Palace, to see how we're going to get on. But
all
yeah,
right. We'll watch on eagerly.
Yeah, so cool. Right, that went on for a little bit longer than I imagined. Sorry about that, folks. Very passionate when we talk about our own teams. That's the only problem. But yeah, let us know in the comments down below what you think about the chances for, who have we covered? Spurs, Arsenal, Man United. Let us know what you think. Are we hitting the nail on the head, or are we way out with what we think are going to happen? Let us know, and then you can prove us wrong when we play Super 6. So, right then, Josh, you know what time it is?
I do. Hit me, Dave.
I got a wiki file. Here comes a wiki file. I got a wiki file for you. Hey, there we go. I've sent Josh a wiki file this week. Say what you see, and if you see it, say it.
I see a Dutchman, because they started their career in 94-95. They started at Excelsior for 9 appearances, 0 goals. We got a little. They reached peak Dutch. They went to Feyenoord in 95-98. 68 appearances, only the 1 goal. So we're not a goal scorer here. Then they get their Premier League move. They play 1 season at Coventry City, or maybe a bit more, because they have 46 league appearances, 5 goals. Then 3 years with Aston Villa in the Premier League, 103 appearances, 4 goals. Then we move up north. We go to Middlesbrough. 6 years up in Middlesbrough, 2-08. 182 appearances, 7 goals. We have a couple of seasons. We like the north, but we come down a bit. I've got it. We go to Hull City. 52 appearances, 1 goal. Any other year in Switzerland?
No idea, but he played for Skoda. Greece.
Skoda Xanthi. Skoda would be Swiss, maybe, yeah.
No, it's Greece. It's Greece.
Swedish.
Greece.
Oh, Greece. Oh, okay. 19 appearances, 2 goals. Then we come back. I did not realise this happened. We come back to England to play for Nottingham Forest. 5 appearances, 1 goal. And then you've heard of the A team, you've heard of B teams. He played for T team.
Can you guess where they are?
T team are in Thailand.
No, very close. Malaysia.
Oh, 20 appearances, 4 goals. Cracking return from him there. It's kind of like a goal-scoring midfielder, but he wasn't a goal-scoring midfielder. He was a defensive midfielder. This is George Boateng.
It is George Boateng. What gave it away? I'm interested. It was around Middlesbrough, you said. I've got it, but...
Yeah, so I remember him doing the Middlesbrough to Hull City move.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, a couple of years at Hull.
Because
maybe a Phil Brown era.
It was Phil Brown. Yeah,
it
was Phil Brown. What I found interesting about this is that it's very rare in a wiki file we have no loan moves in the wiki file, because we normally pick people that had loan moves. He never did a loan move. Very interesting. And finished in Malaysia. I bet he rocked up to that team in Malaysia and they were like, "So we know you're a midfielder. Where's your possession?" He went, "number 10. Attacking midfield."
Yeah, I'm gonna boss it. Yeah, 4 goals. Yeah, probably got 4 goals in his first 4 appearances. Like, oh my goodness.
Yeah. Do you want to know what he's currently doing with his career?
Is he a coach? He seemed like he's a student of the game. He's a coach. Where's he coaching?
Blackburn Rovers under-13s head coach. I mean, it's gone pinnacle. Yeah. That's very strange thing to go for. But yeah,
it's like as head coach. It's like how many coaching staff do you need for your under-13s? If you got fitness coach and
Josh, if there's only one coach for the under-13s, you're the head coach.
You are. Yeah, he's good. He's written this himself. Yeah. He's the head coach.
And can you guess his international stats?
He played for Holland, didn't he?
He did.
Even though I don't think he was born in Holland.
Ghanaian by birth.
Ghanaian, yeah. Ghanaian by birth. I think he did play a couple of times because I remember him being in Pro Evo game in the Dutch squad. So I'm going to play a handful of appearances, kind of like under 10 appearances for Holland.
He did make under 10 appearances for Holland. It was 4. In a 5-year spell, he made 4 appearances. Which, when you think about their central midfielder over that period, between 2001 and 2006, even 4 is quite impressive for George Boateng.
Yeah, to be fair, he'd been competing with like Mark Van Bommel that time, wouldn't he?
Yeah.
He's not going to win that battle.
Well done, Josh. You've nailed the wiki files very quickly that week. I look forward to your return.
Quite a lot of appearances, though. He played a good long career, didn't he?
He did. And I completely forgot he played for Coventry in the Premier League. So that was interesting when I looked at it.
Yes, I wouldn't have guessed that as his first move. And to be honest with you, it's only really Middlesbrough I remember. There's a vague memory of Aston Villa, but it's not a strong one.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Well, what could have happened if he had moved down south, eh? If he had had a career down south, it could have been so different. It was all Midlands or North, yeah. So, but anyway, well done, mate. Well done. You absolutely nailed that one. I'll make it harder next time.
Yeah, go on, Dave.
Yeah, I'll
add some loans in there. The loans make it. Only English players make it difficult. If they haven't gone abroad, it's a real, key factor in me being able to tell where they are. But if they haven't gone abroad, I'm like, who the hell's played for Bury, Hull, and Sheffield United? Like, oh God, I don't know.
Sounds like something Billy Painter would do. Anyway, right, we've got the quiz to finish off, Josh. So remind the listeners.
Hold your horses.
Oh, hello.
Hold your horses. All Gareth right. Bale. We tweeted a little poll in the last week around, because it seemed like Zidane is kind of just kicking him in the arse, trying to get him out the door. And so it seemed at this point last week that he was all set to leave. And so we asked the question, where do we think he's going to end up? We had China, Tottenham, Man United or PSG. And it was a close battle, actually. We had 82 votes, and in last place was PSG with 19%. Then it was Man United with 20%. Tottenham with 28%, but the winner, and who I chose, China, 33%. Yourself, Dave, who did you choose?
China, yeah, I went for China as well.
And it seems like Gareth Bale may have chosen China as well.
I wonder if
the news coming through at the moment.
Do you reckon him and his agent have a vote on it as well? Click China.
Yeah, that's what they've used to decide where to go. But yeah, it seems like he is all set to move to China, and all I can say is, you absolute idiot. What?
He can't. He couldn't. He can't win in this situation, right? He'll either stay at Madrid and earn a wage playing golf, not playing football, and everyone would moan at him that he's not playing football. At least in China, he's going to be playing football. Yes, he's gone for the money. Yes, he's going to be getting roughly £1 million a week.
There are other options than those two options, though, Dave.
Well, we haven't heard of any. Even Man United haven't made a bid for him. Like,
I understand this is very much a football fan wanting a footballer to treat football as though it is the passion rather than a business. Because how many of you would take a pay cut if we were offered that much money to do our job in China? We'd take it rather than to another company in, say, Germany who are in need of wingers and you can still earn good money, but you can't. You can earn 10 times that in China. You take China, so I understand I'm saying that, but he could easily have gone to somewhere like Bayern Munich or PSG, earned a very handsome wage, but also proved himself in another league.
What I'm saying is, you haven't heard of any offers from those clubs to him. It's all well and good saying, that he could move there, but if they don't want Gareth Bale.
Yeah, because it might be that Gareth Bale's gone in and gone, it's 600 grand a week or nothing. Don't even talk to me if you're not going to offer that, and so. Clubs like
but
he'll definitely be wanted by other teams. Like he's not. It's about unsavoury that
he moves there and get loaned out to someone else in Europe so that they avoid FFP. Just saying.
Dirty devil, you. Yeah.
I'll leave that lingering.
Yeah, but no, I feel sad that he's ending his career there because it will tarnish all that he's won so far. I think.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, fair enough. Let us know in the comments what you think and where you voted, and get in touch. So, right now, Josh, remind the listeners of what your quiz was.
Now you can hit me up. So yes, I quizzed Dave earlier on with my watertight answers to this quiz. The top 10 players in order of transfer fees received by Premier League clubs, and obviously Gareth Bale is on that list. He is second, maybe third, on that list with his transfer from Spurs to Real Madrid. Dave has mentioned him already, but Dave has got 5 players left to name. He's named Gareth Bale. He's named Cristiano Ronaldo, Romelu Lukaku, Luis Suarez, Fernando Torres, Eden Hazard. But he has 5 left to name. Dave. What is in your mind? What is on your paper? What is going to come out of your mouth?
On my paper and coming out of my mouth is Philippe Coutinho.
Oh, he's got number 1.
Yes.
Number uno.
Because I was absolutely gobsmacked when that actually happened. So
yes.
Okay. Right. Question mark name, because I always have a name with a question mark on when I give my answers. Angel Di Maria. Did Angel Di Maria?
No. I think you may keep that name in your mind for a future quiz, the next episode. Keep that name in mind.
Okay, note it down.
A little help there.
I'm really, really struggling with this question. I might have to concede quite early.
Oh my goodness!
What about the little Brazilian guy from Chelsea to China? Oscar.
Yes.
Oscar.
Yeah, it's all coming up Millhouse now.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so I've got, is it 3 left of the famous list?
Got 3 left,
the famous list
all
of
all of them are still playing for in the Premier League. So they're all Premier League transfers.
John Stones.
No.
Oh, bollocks.
Right club. We've got 2 other players from that club and 1 other player
Kyle
from
Walker.
Kyle Walker.
Okay. I thought John Stones moved for more than one.
Don't criticise the list. I realise it's shit. You've just basically got to name these random 10 players on my random list.
Okay.
Right?
All right. Yeah. Good quiz.
And listeners, please don't get in touch and say how crap it is. This is a one-off. This is your first episode listening.
Yeah.
Forgive me. They're normally fantastic.
I will admit his quizzes are normally very good. This is a one-off slight error. Let's leave it at that.
Who's the most expensive centre-back in the world? Well, was
Van Dijk.
Van Dijk.
Oh yeah, of course. They signed him from Southampton. Why did I think they signed him from? Yeah. And I'm going to go for the last one. I'm going to go Riyad Mahrez.
Oh, winner, chicken dinner.
I've named the random 10 players on your piece of paper.
You've named my random 10 players. I'm going to double check my next week's quiz because I don't want the embarrassment that this has caused me.
Yes, I don't want that embarrassment for you either, Josh. You are a co-host of this pod, and your ineptitude brings the whole thing crashing down. So,
Whoa, oh dear.
No, it was good. You know, if you're factual.
Don't lie, Dave. Don't lie.
Yeah. Back to the normal standard, please, next week, Josh. Yeah.
Okay,
definitely.
We're next week, but we are pre-recording next week's one, aren't we, Dave?
We are pre-recording next week's one because we've both decided to go on holiday just before.
Yeah,
the
we're living
League
it up.
starts. Yeah,
living it up. We're on holiday on the Premier League weekend, opening weekend. We'll pre-recording our other Premier League preview podcast. We're recording that tomorrow, so hopefully a lot happens in the news between now and then.
yeah. But we are going to end this week's show here. So thank you so much for listening, everybody. Your comments when you're interacting with us is brilliant on Twitter at Football Talk. But remember,
there's no A in football.
There's no A in football because Twitter stole the A and won't give it back. But yeah, all your comments that you leave on the Twitter, on the YouTube comments, on Spotify and SoundCloud are brilliant. Please do keep it coming. And Josh, we do have to celebrate a little bit because we have passed the 100 subscriber mark on YouTube, which is a fantastic achievement for us. We also have.
And that, what way to commemorate that? I'll read you my favourite comment recently from YouTube.
Is it the one that said he does spreadsheets as well?
No, it's from William Garraway. What a load of rubbish. Thumbs down from me. Love it.
Well, you can't please everybody, Josh. You can't please everybody. Hopefully he's back and listening to this episode. And he's he'll leave another comment that absolutely murders your quiz, hopefully. So on that bombshell, we will leave it there. Please do hit us up on Twitter. Go and watch on YouTube. Listen on SoundCloud and Spotify. You can search us by searching for Football Talk or Michael Ballsack. But for now, we're out. Cheers.